Are you an adventurer looking to take your hunt to the next level? Then you're in the right place. Welcome to East Meets West Hunt with your host, Bo Martonic.
Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of the East Meets West Hunt podcast presented by onX. So onX, if you're not using it already, you should be, especially this time of year where, you know, the most of my scouting takes in place from behind the computer screen or on my phone. So I wanted to share a little tidbits, a little feature that I use on onX a lot. And this is mostly for hunting mountain bucks in the east, but can also be applied to different areas of the west as well. And that's the timber cut feature. So what a timber cut basically is, from a high level overview, is an area that they have logged. They either went in and clear cut the whole area, cut all the trees out, or they've thinned it, select cut, so only taken certain trees. And what onX has is they have the United States Forest Service timber cuts showing areas of the logging operations on national forest land over the last 5 years. So this layer is perfect for targeting thinned areas of the forest, and specifically with mountain bucks, it will help you figure out what the different food sources and bedding areas are. So when you got, a younger cut, it's just been cut. I remember, in years past of looking at, I'd go into an area and in like August, they'd start logging it and I'd get so depressed. I'm like, everything's changing, cutting out all the timber through here. What am I going to do? What I've come to learn is those fresh logging cuts are great for, fresh feeding, things along those lines. And that basically, it's a big woods food plot. And as the cuts even, get older, my favorite time to hunt them really is in that 3 to 8 year old range. And what you can do with onX is when you put the layer on, so what you do is when you have your phone open and you go to your map layers, you click on the hunt layer system, and there'll be a section that says timber cuts. Turn that on, and it'll pull up a little gridded area of anywhere that's been timber cut with a year on it. And it'll tell you the type of cut and what year it was logged. And what's super helpful about that, like I said, when you find those ones in that 3 to 7 year old range, usually you get the new growth is getting about 5 to 7 feet tall, and it creates a lot of new growth for them to feed on. But it's also getting really thick with briars, blackberry bushes, things along those lines that are keeping them secure. So they'll bed, either on the edges or inside of these logging cuts and timber cuts. But also, usually there'll still be some big trees they left up, so you can get in your tree stand or saddle or whatever method you're using and be above them and, shooting down into some of the skidder trails and stuff that go throughout the cuts. So the deer kind of feel secure with the canopy being a little bit taller than them. They're not as susceptible to look up. And that's just something that I'm using a lot, especially going into a brand new area. I'm using that timber cut feature, targeting those cuts in that 3 to 7 year old, 3 to 8 year old range, and looking for them to start scouting. So that's a big feature that I don't think a lot of people are utilizing, and it's a huge help for me when I'm hunting, mountain bucks throughout the Appalachian range. So if you want to save 20% off the onX Hunt app, just use code EMW and you'll save yourself 20%. Also, the University of Elk Hunting with Corey Jacobson and Elk 101. Elk season is approaching quickly. September's almost here. But even if you're doing a rifle hunt, they have information in there for everybody. And it's a really good time. Dial in your gear, figure out what other things you need. And the University of Elk Hunting will help out with that and help reduce the learning curve. I know for me specifically, I'm diving back into the module about elk calling. I need to be practicing a lot more than I am already and get my bugling down, some soft cow calls, just kind of messing around with that, because I've realized that's been, one of those things that I need to work on a little bit, as I can call, under perfect scenarios, but when you're out of breath and you're hiking, you need to have that stuff dialed in, and I need to practice a little more than I would for, say, turkeys. And so using the University of Elk Hunting, Corey shows going through the different calling techniques, how to use the mouth calls, the different types of calls out there. It's super helpful. So if you want to use the code East Meets West, save yourself $20 on the online course and invest in yourself. Maven Optics has just released their new V5 series optics. So what they did was they took the smaller, lighter magnesium frame and the same Abby Koenig prism system that was in their B2 binocular, which is the one I've talked about a lot that I use, and paired it with the same fluorite glass that's featured in their S series spotting scopes. So they created a bino that excels at capturing detail at extended differences in both a 15 by and 18 by magnification. So it's the most powerful binocular that Maven offers. And what's so great about this new platform is for some people that say maybe don't want to pack in a spotting scope, like the idea of looking through both eyes instead of one, and it just kind of fit that niche there. And with all the technical terms of the prism systems and stuff, what that really means is it's superior in low light without losing any clarity at distance. So if you're looking to do some high country mule deer hunting here, late August, early September, maybe glassing some elk in open country, the B5 may be right up your alley. So if you want to use the code EastMeetsWest-gift to get a free gift with every full price optics order off the website, just let you know that does not work with the Amazon Prime link that they have on the website. That'll be just directly from Maven. So check that out. And then lastly, as far as the partners go, Heather's Choice has the highest quality food options for the backcountry travel, whatever that might be. And right now is the time when you should be trying out different meals, snacks, everything to see what you're going to be taking with you on your hunts, because you don't want to be eating something the first time when you're on your hunt and realizing that you don't like it and you have 7 days worth of the same thing packed. So it's a very good idea. Check that out. Try it. If you use the code EastMeetsWest at checkout, you'll get free shipping on orders over $99. Or if you just want to try it out and you want to try a sampler package or something along those lines, just use the link in our website. That really helps out a lot. All right, before we get into the episode here with Sarah, I want to I haven't went through my gear items here, some things I've changed. I had mentioned in a recent article about my gear setup that I was going to be changing out some new items and adding them in. So I wanted to go over some new gear pieces that I'm using and just kind of playing around with. So I talked about the Maven S.2 spotter. It's 12 to 27 magnification. I'm going to be hunting a little bit more open country where glassing the first light and in the evenings is going to be crucial. So I'm going to be running that, and that spotter is so extremely light. It actually weighs even a little bit less than my B2 binoculars, which is crazy. So it won't take up a whole lot of weight in my pack. The size is small, and I'll be using that. In addition, I've changed out a few items in my Sitka system, so my clothing system. And as you know, I've been using Sitka for a long time, and I started buying it back in 2013 or 14, and then ended up working for a dealer, got to know the ins and the outs. My system from last year is dialed, but I like to mess around with new stuff and just keep, finicking with it. I guess I am a little bit of a gear junkie from that standpoint. So what I did was I always like wearing their short sleeve core lightweight base layer. I like the short sleeve. The day when it gets hot, I can just wear that, and I just don't like a whole lot of stuff on my arms. So this year they redesigned their base layers, and their lightweight short sleeve shirt is even lighter than before. So I got the subalpine version and been kind of messing around with that, wearing it out, doing some scouting, trail cam checks, and really liking that piece. So what I'm going to do with that is over top of it, so what I'll probably wear for 90% of the hunt will be the Apex hoodie over top of that. So the Apex hoodie is, I'd say it's kind of in between their midweight and their heavyweight core series as far as weight, but it incorporates some merino wool in that, so it's extremely good with scent control and everything there. So I like that piece. It's got a hood. I'm a big hood guy with built-in face mask, all that stuff. So that'd be kind of like how I'd start my top, which I've used the Apex hoodie last year, but I'm going to utilize that a little bit more, and I'll tell you why. So the next piece that I'm using is the Kelvin Active Hoodie. I've been using the Kelvin Active jacket for the last couple of years, and it's by far probably my favorite piece that Sitka has out there. When you pick this jacket up, it doesn't feel like it'd keep you warm or anything because it's so lightweight and packable, but it breathes really well. So I get hot when I'm hiking. I don't like to wear much of anything. The Kelvin Active jacket has been something I'm able to have high exertion. It'll allow me to dump heat, but also retain heat when I'm sitting there, say glassing or doing anything else along those lines. But the Kelvin Active hoodie, what really brought me to it is, I just mentioned about loving hoods. Well, this has a hood built in, and also it's short sleeved. So it's really weird seeing a jacket without full length sleeves, but it reduces any bulk, in that forearm area where you really don't need much warmth anyways. So it provides really good bowstring clearance, and it also allows you to wear the elbow pads in the Apex hoodie for stalking if that's something you're into. It's a 4-way stretch nylon shell, and the form-fitting hood kind of cuts back like towards your ears around your eyes so you don't lose any peripheral view. And the Polartec Alpha insulation is what I'm talking about, that allows you to be able to dump heat when you're moving, but also retain it when needed. They pulled out the liner that was in the Kelvin Active jacket to make this even lighter, and this piece is crazy. I just wore it this past weekend out in Colorado as the temperatures dropped down around 40 degrees, maybe even a little lower, and that piece was really awesome. And I'm planning on, as the summer goes on, using it more. It's kind of tough because how warm it is to really get a good test with it, but some of those cold mornings and everything, you can get a good feel for it. So really pumped about that item. And another piece of Sitka that I picked up is the Ascent Gaiters. So they're a small gaiter that, some people use them for trail running, keep sticks and stuff out of their shoes. But what I kind of want to explain, so gaiters, I've always thought of them as you need them in snow and, say, crossing creeks, anything like that, and you typically think of them being higher. Well, what's cool about the Ascent Gaiters is they're lower, and there's a couple ways you can wear them. You can wear them over top of your pant like a traditional gaiter, or you could wear them underneath your pant and just go over your socks. And why that would provide a purpose and what the gaiters help so much with is if you've hunted elk or anything else in September, you'll know that in the mornings the grass can be really wet and kind of dewy, and it'll as you're walking through that, get your pant legs soaked. And the pants, especially if you're wearing something in a performance type system, whether it's the Apex, the Ascent pant, anything like that from Sitka, that those will dry really quick. But what doesn't is when the moisture gets into your socks. Then your socks starts running down and getting your foot wet, and then your boots get wet. And it's so difficult, especially on a backpacking hunt, to be able to dry out your boots. So if you run the gaiters, say, underneath that, you can run them over top of your socks, and that'll keep the water from going in there, any moisture, and it'll keep your boots dry. And I think having dry boots that's almost a huge mental win, is having those, stay nice and dry. So the Ascent Gaiters is something I'm definitely going to be using. Wore the Thunderheads a couple years ago out there. Liked them a lot, just were a little bit more than what I needed for that application. The Mountain Hauler 4000 pack. So I ran the 6200, and I ran my Kafaru last year. Loved both of the packs. Each of them had kind of their own, wins and some things that I didn't like. And I talked about that last year on the last day of the 14-day hunt series that I did. If you want to go back to those episodes, Colorado Hunt Series, look at the last one. I went through my whole gear rundown of what worked, what didn't, and the reasonings. So the Mountain Hauler 4000, I didn't have a pack that kind of was like a day pack that could be also used for hauling meat out. And the 4000 does that with a smaller platform than the 6200, and so it can be compressed down really good. They added a couple pockets to the back of it that fit like a spotter, your rain jacket, puffy jacket, those things that need to be accessed quickly. And also the biggest thing that I love about this pack now is the U-shaped zipper so when you lay the pack down, you don't need to just stuff it from the top. You can open that pack wide open, put your stuff in there. It's just really easy to access everything. And there's a reason why I love to mess around with my gear ahead of time and get my system dialed, so you're not just scrambling through stuff in the field trying to figure out where you stuffed everything in your pack. I like to have it kind of broke down in a systematic type approach. And this Mountain Hauler 4000 is dynamite. I mean, it's the same exact frame suspension system that's in the 6200, but just a little bit smaller bag size with, in my opinion, for the type of hunting I do and the way I like to lay out my gear, even a little bit better of a layout. So I'm really pumped to use that, for the longer hunts. You're hunting 6-7 days packing in, then obviously the 6200 fits that better. But for some, day hunting with a couple, maybe you want to stay 2-3 nights, this Mountain Hauler 4000 is going to be the ticket for me. So I'm still messing around with that. I've been training a little bit with it and throwing sandbags in there and figuring out how I'm going to pack it exactly, and really looking forward to that. So my whole gear setup is online. If you want to go over to eastmeetswesthunt.com/journal, you can find my gear setup with links to all of the items I use. And what I did was I just optimized it with Amazon to be able to find just about every piece. The link will take you to an Amazon platform, and I'm in the process of creating a page on Amazon. So it'll be like all my gear stuff that I buy, down to the fire starting, the SBIT tablets that I use, and down to the paracord I buy to take out, just everything. Because a lot of times, you hear, oh, I'm bringing paracord, or I'm bringing flagging tape, or I'm bringing a tent footprint, but what are these things? So I made it simple and put links to all of it. And once I get this store created in Amazon, you can go in there and find all of it right there and be able to click on it and, purchase it that way if that's something you want to do. And if you have any questions on it, feel free to shoot me a message on either Instagram or through email. And I'll be able to kind of talk you through it a little bit better than I might be here in that article. So check that out. As we get closer to hunting season, I'm going to break down some more gear items and talk about it. I mean, gear is something that can be overcomplicated, as I do myself a lot, but I'm going to break down all those items. And is everything that I use something that you need? Absolutely not. I mean, I built this stuff over 4 years of elk hunting now to get to the point where I'm at now. So I do believe in the kind of buy once, cry once mentality, where it might be a little more expensive up front, but the gear lasts you a long time, probably a lot longer than I'm going to use it, because I like to try new things, and that's a problem for my bank account sometimes, but it is what it is. And then lastly, I wanted to just quickly cover, I just got back from Colorado. I took just a weekend trip out there, flew out of Pittsburgh to Denver to visit my brother who lives out there. And we did an overnight camping trip with a good friend of ours, Chris Toomey, who was a special guest on the podcast a couple times during the the Elk Hunt, Colorado Hunt series that I was talking about earlier. He hunted a few days with me last year when he was brand new into elk hunting. He just moved to Colorado from the Pittsburgh area. So we went camping with him and his wife and a couple of their friends, Jerry and Brittany, and it was a great time. Just went back into a national forest in Colorado, set up camp, and truck camp there. It was an awesome time. Did a little bit of hiking too with my brother and my sister-in-law and their dog. And I'll tell you what, that was a great test to be able to see how much my fitness has improved from last year, and can definitely tell that the Mountain Tough fitness program that I've been doing has been helping out a ton. We did just yesterday morning, did a just over a 7-mile hike and moving at a pretty good pace that the dog likes to pull pretty quickly. And I felt good even at elevation. And we were at points on the trip around 11,000 feet. And, at first you got shortness of breath, and I took it easy the first day, but really felt I acclimated a lot quicker and wasn't breathing heavy, just felt excellent. So I'm super pumped to keep, working out every single morning before work, get up and go out and get ready, because I just can't, stress enough how much fitness helps with it. It's not the, make or break of a hunt all the time, but I do believe you can stay out longer and you're more inclined to do different things than you would, normally. So that trip was awesome. Got to mess around with some gear, do some camping, get to see the high country again. My first time, this is my first time out west that wasn't for a hunt, and that was kind of nice at the same time. So I was able to do the trip, on a budget by staying with my brother and just camping. So if anybody, if you're going to say you want a scout unit or something, usually you can find plane tickets. You book them for far enough ahead for a reasonable price. I got a direct flight to Pittsburgh. It was under $300 and flew out there. And, if I was going to be hunting this year, I would have done some scouting and everything. So that was a nice trip to be able to get out there and get in the mountains a little bit. All right. Well, I've rambled on enough here in the intro. So let's get into the podcast here with Sarah Lauder. Bush. What's going on, Sarah?
What's up?
Well, today's actually not too bad of a day at the Total Archery Challenge.
No,
a little bit of sunshine.
Well, time without some rain doesn't hurt.
Yeah. It's nice that
finally
we're cracking our first beer. It's like 5 p.m., right? Okay. No, it's 10:45 a.m.
10:45 a.m.
That's close to noon.
It's close enough. It's 5 o'clock somewhere.
Yeah, exactly. So anyways, I'm joined here by Sarah Lauder. Did I pronounce that
Yeah.
right? Yes, I got it.
You got it.
I was worried last night. I was talking to Sarah, and I was like, how do you pronounce your last name? Because I don't want to be that guy that comes on the podcast and pronounces it wrong. But, so we're here at Total Archery Challenge. Sarah, what's your reason for being here?
So I'm a ambassador for Sitka, so I'm here talking gear, talking hunting, shaking hands, having a good time, doing a podcast.
Yeah. So just
the usual.
just the usual. So Sarah, you also work for a company full time in the outdoor industry here.
Yep, I work for Easton Archery. I handle all the Western United States archery shops in a couple states on the East Coast, and get to pedal arrows.
Yeah.
Talk
awesome.
arrows for a living, so that's a good time.
Yeah, coming out of beautiful Utah.
Yeah, it is gorgeous. Except for it's just nonstop rain. I can't get away from it.
I think that's really anywhere this time. I mean, at least this spring it's been wet everywhere, which kind of
Hopefully
sucks.
that means big deer, big elk.
Yes. Yeah, that's good for antler growth, right? That's the way to look at it there. So, Sarah, do you want to give a little bit of a kind of background on yourself, and then I'll fill in some gaps?
Sure. I grew up hunting. Been going with my dad since I could walk, pretty much, and he'd haul me around in a wagon duck hunting, and then I this just kind of grew into it. That's just what our family did. We've always hunted together. So every year hunted with my parents until I was old enough to do my hunter safety and start hunting for myself. And then hooked. Every year since, I hunt with my family mainly. So it's nonstop. We all hunt different seasons, kind of. I do archery. Me and my dad and my mom hunts with the muzzleloader. And right now my sister's doing dedicated hunter, which is archery, rifle, and muzzleloader. And so we're nonstop from archery season to the end of November. So August to November, pretty much.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So I have only ever worked in the outdoor industry. So I hunted my whole life. Started working at Sportsman's Warehouse and then evolved into working at Easton. So, that's kind of eat, sleep, and breathe it right now.
Yeah. I was going to say, yeah. Even, your professional life and your hobbies are all kind of fit into one there.
Yep.
And get to go to shows like this and meet awesome people like myself.
Oh, yeah. You cannot beat the people at these events, though.
I think you missed that first part.
Oh, about yourself?
Yeah.
People like myself.
Just trying to not be arrogant,
Just had to slide that one in there.
I'm just kidding. But no, it is awesome coming to these events and getting to be able to talk to everybody and meeting some really cool people in the process. So there's also something else you must have left out.
Oh, no.
Can I go out and say it or no?
Yeah, I think you should just go for it.
All right, so I'm going to tell you what I know about Sarah. So I met her at ATA here earlier in the year, and so next time I saw her was here at Total Archery Challenge, walked into the house, and we started talking about playing cornhole. And Sarah proceeds to tell us that she's ranked number 36 in the state of Utah, which she was better, but she skipped a few events. First of all, I never knew there was any such thing as rankings in cornhole. Like, it's serious. Like, she's got an app called, what's the app called?
Oh, gosh.
Cornholio?
Yeah, Scoreholio or something like that.
And she's legitly ranked in the state.
Oh, my gosh. That's one of those things that you say, and then, later you regret bringing it up or bringing it to anyone's attention.
Yeah, we hammered you this whole time about it. Because we played a lot of cornhole.
Because then I have to, play. I have to show up. I can talk about it, but I got to be about it, and then had a couple off games, and then...
And you were my partner and didn't help out at all.
No,
I was carrying the team.
I was carrying the team. You were struggling there for a while.
Yeah, okay. That's honest. Sarah definitely hit it. I'm not very good at cornhole until I'm in that 3 to 5 beer window.
Right.
We talked about that.
There's been studies done.
Before that, it's hard, and then after that, it gets a little bit hard with coordination and stuff as well. So, yeah, that's just something I wanted to put out there. I don't think Sarah's ever talked about it publicly before.
No,
but
I definitely have not.
It's a big deal, and she should be recognized for that.
I should.
All right, let's go back to hunting. I'm done ragging on you about that, but okay. So you're from Utah, and heart of some absolutely beautiful country, everything else. And what's your favorite? I know you said you're into archery hunting, but what's your favorite type of hunts?
Definitely. So I do a lot of, I get my general tag. So we hunt public ground, and my favorite, that's my favorite. I've hunted out of state a little bit, but kind of my home turf in the mountains. That's where I enjoy it the most. And we hunt with my family.
Yeah.
So I'm up there, but I think fall, it's so hot in August. So I think my fall archery hunt's got to be my favorite.
Yeah. Okay.
Fall archery hunt.
And for deer, so what kind of hunt is that? Is it like a spot and stalk?
Yeah.
Type?
Oh, yeah. Yep. I've hunted out of a tree stand a time or two, and that's just not my thing.
Yeah.
So, yeah, all spot and stalk pretty much.
Okay. And that time of year, so like your September, everything, is it more high country type stuff you're looking at in Utah, or what's it like around
where I hunt? So we have, my general season is more, I think we're at elevation maybe around 8,000 feet, just over 8,000 feet. It's kind of open where I'm at, a lot of hills. Obviously in the mountains, a lot of hills, a lot of sagebrush, a lot of trees where I hunt in the late season. So once your general season's over, those dates are up, then our Wasatch Front opens up. And that is a whole new world. Those two, from where I hunt general season to where I hunt extended season, is two totally different terrains. It's steep. It's gnarly. I mean, it's a hunt for sure.
Yeah, I've wanted to hunt Utah, and every time I look into applying, I get overwhelmed by the fact that I feel like I'll never draw.
Yeah,
and I
that's tough.
don't end up spending the money on it. But I guess you can't win if you don't play the game.
Right. Yeah, that's tough. But
Yeah.
I mean, you should do it.
Yeah,
Just do it.
Just do it.
Yeah.
What, the general tags?
Yeah, just because with our general season archery tags, you can draw your unit, but then extended opens up. So then you have a whole nother month to hunt in a different area.
I'm not following you here. So you can still put in for a draw.
Yeah.
But you can
So even if you don't, so if there's a tag that is easier to draw in a certain area, you can still, put in and draw and have a better chance at drawing it and hunt that area. But you have kind of like a second chance once that season's over. That's where you drew your tag for is closed, but then our Wasatch Front opens up for extended archery.
Okay, I gotcha. I'm following you now. It's so confusing because each state is so different.
And the season dates.
Yeah, and that's amazing to me that everything's just so different. So you can pick up a deer tag general every year.
I can for where I put in for. It's not a super popular area, but it is semi close to home, and we have a lot of. I mean, we know the area there, so that's where I go, and I draw a tag every year.
Yeah. Do you typically do pretty good?
Yeah. Yep. It's been a rough couple of years. Just deer. I mean, we've. You get your favorites, and so you kind of chase the same ones and kind of get one track mind and put all your eggs in one basket. So it's been kind of rough, and then they just disappear.
Yeah.
Don't exist anymore for the rest of the season and then next summer. So I don't know. I'm kind of holding out.
Are you? It's funny because, even though it's different with mule deer, but we get like that with whitetails too, where you're probably glassing them and spotting a certain deer you're going after. I'm looking at trail cam pictures, and I'm like, it's all or nothing. I get in that mindset, and I try not to, and try just to be like, hunt the experience, don't hunt that certain animal. But it's
hard.
In our head.
Oh yeah,
It's tough to be.
And then
able to
it's
do
almost
that.
like you gotta. It's like a challenge now. Like they're disappearing on you year after year. You have history with a buck, and then now I need to zone in.
Yeah, exactly. And is it tough as far as like trying to find those same deer year after year? Like,
a lot of them are pretty consistent. It depends on the area and where they go to winter, but a lot of them are pretty consistent. The same couple bucks I've been after the last few years have been pretty consistent on even down to like opening day. But right when you think you have it down, and I say this every year, I'm like, this is where they were on opening morning. This is where I'm going to be this year on opening morning. And they're not. They're on the opposite hill.
Yeah.
So they're in the same area, just kind of hard to pattern.
Yeah, I haven't dove into the whole mule deer hunting thing, and I think that'll be kind of my thing. But I have a thing in my head. I need to kill an elk. Like when I start something, I can't take my mind off until I finish it. But mule deer, I want to hunt mule deer
They're
really
so
bad
cool.
with the bow.
They're the coolest animal. I mean, I have love for elk, but mule deer are just so freaking cool.
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, like, I haven't even really done a whole lot of research into mule deer hunting just from the fact, again, I just try to stay focused, and otherwise my mind tends to be scrambled more than it already is. So
there's a lot going on.
Yeah, that's for sure.
There is a lot going on.
I will have a mule deer tag this year in Idaho. It's over the counter, so I'm just going to pick one up while I'm elk hunting. So
there you go. See?
That's about it.
There you go.
Do you have any hunts planned for this year?
I have my general tag. So I have 13 deer points for Utah. Well, I didn't draw this year, so now I'll have 14. I'm kind of holding out for a premium limited entry unit. And then I have my general archery tag, and then I can buy a multi-season elk tag. So I can hunt all 3 seasons that, and then might try to make a couple trips to Texas. Trying to work on some stuff in Wyoming for some antelope hunts. So.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
That'll be fun. Have you hunted antelope
Usually it's
before?
spur of the moment stuff. It's like fly by the seat of my pants. This came up. I'm going to go do that. So I don't have anything solid yet, but there's some stuff going on.
Yeah, that's awesome. Those are the best ones, in my opinion. Because I don't know about you, but for me, when I start planning something a long ways out, I almost like get stressed with it, and I'm trying to. Everything's got to be perfect. When things come up, like last year, I went to Alberta. I got a call 2 weeks beforehand, and Chris was like, "Can you go to Alberta?" And I was like, Yeah. And then
Yeah,
you just make
'cause
it
you can't
happen.
say no.
Yeah, you just make it happen, and it all works out.
Yeah, it
you know?
always does.
It all works out, and
When I went to Texas, I bought a one-way plane ticket because I wanted to make sure I had enough time to do what I went there to do. Wasn't sure what that was going to look like, so I bought a one-way ticket and just said I'd figure out how to get home after the weekend was over, or the week. I was there for like 8 days, but
yeah, that's funny.
we'll figure it out later.
Yeah, you always figure it out. Exactly. That's funny. But so, Sarah, what I kind of want to talk to you about a little bit here is your experience at Easton and being in the sales and kind of customer service, as you were saying a little bit. So when it comes down to arrows, if someone were to call Easton, are you who normally picks up?
Yep. So I do a lot of dealer, handle stuff on the dealer end, but I also handle like consumer calls, people calling in looking for advice or tech support, wanting to double check make sure they're shooting the right thing. So yeah, you get me if you call Easton.
Okay. So what I guess this might be a pretty general question, but like if someone's calling in, be like, do they say? I want the perfect hunting arrow for this.
Yeah, they'll kind of give you a scenario and say, this is what I want to be. I want to be light and fast or heavy and hard hitting. I'm going to be doing this type of hunt, but I also might do this, but I want to do target archery too.
Yeah. And
here's what I'm shooting and go. What can I shoot? So
I want the best all-around arrow that does everything. With no compromise.
Right. Yep. Yeah. So we have quite a few options, and I mean it's fun because we have a lot of options because we have an arrow for every archer. So regardless of what you're trying to do, there's a way to do it.
Yeah. So, all right. A lot of the listeners of the podcast here, they're going out west for the first time elk hunting or mule deer hunting and also doing some whitetail hunting. What's the perfect arrow?
What's the perfect arrow? For whitetail, I'm going to recommend usually light and fast because your shots are going to be closer distance than out west. So you want light, fast, that arrow to get there now and quiet. And so I'd recommend something a little lighter. Out west, heavier, you're taking longer shots. So I recommend something a little heavier. And then it comes down to the technical, putting brass in your arrow to improve your front of center, that kinetic energy, because you're shooting farther, but you still want that arrow to pack a punch at those distances.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
especially helping steer the broadheads and stuff.
Right. Flatter trajectory at longer ranges. So definitely heavier for out west.
Yeah. Okay, so I like the heavier arrow for whitetails myself. Mm-hmm. Well, I guess it started with being out west. I'm not going to change arrows with it, but I don't know. I'd rather have a slower bow that's hard hitting in case you do. Right. I don't always make the best shots at times, so I like to be able to have something a little bit
damage.
Of a punch. Yeah. So what kind of what kind of arrows usually put people in as far as like actual
the models? So I would usually I have my favorites and I've set up a lot of people on. We have detailed programs that I can really see like the technical side and the weights and the front of center percentages. So for out west, I put a lot of people in an Axis 5mm or a FMJ 5mm. Those are kind of like your top shelf serious arrows. That we have smaller arrows are 4mm, but they're a lot more technical. They are different thread patterns, so you need different components to fit those.
Yeah.
So if someone just says, I need an arrow, this is what I want to do, Axis full metal jacket. If someone's more technical about it and they want to start adding stuff, then I'd say like a 4mm.
Yeah. So the Axis 5mm is what, when I worked at an archery shop and we had that, those were a really good selling arrow for people that were doing the crossover stuff between elk and whitetails, and that's what my buddy Michael that's here, that's what he shot, and he put some of the brass inserts up front and everything.
That's kind of your best of both worlds arrow because it's middle of the range as far as weight goes, but it's still light, but it's still got some weight to it, and then it has the options for your brass inserts, and so that one does really, really well for us. And
what about as far as the FMJs series?
Yeah, those are heavy. So once you get those built up, and those also you can put brass inserts in those, so you get a pretty heavy arrow. You get some punch out of those things.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Personally, for me, I'm shooting 54 pounds. So full metal jackets, when I shoot these events and stuff, I just don't get the clearance. Yeah, I can't. They lawn darts.
Yeah.
So personally, FMJs don't work for me because I do a lot of 3D shooting on the side, and so I go with something a little lighter so I can make those shots. But
okay, and it's one of those things too. I'm sure that you can't just. It's not like one arrow is right for this person
Right.
and next for the next person.
Right.
And that's where it's funny because you can ask the general question, what's the best hunting arrow? Well, that's bullshit.
what do you want to do?
Yeah, you can't just answer that. And I saw it from the side, again, being in the archery shop. People are like, I want the best hunting arrow that can do this and this and this. Well, no, you need to figure out what your intended use is for it. Same thing like with Sitka Gear, anything else.
Exactly.
When you get to some of this higher end stuff that's built for a purpose.
Yeah, you would die at some of the calls I take about. I mean, which is fine. People need to learn, but I mean, there's different, I guess, tiers. You could say of experience. You could say this guy takes his bow out once a week before the season, or a couple weeks before the season, puts it back in storage. And then you get your guy that shoots year round and shooting tournaments and staying sharp. And so the guy that's shooting maybe 2-3 times a year is probably not going to spend the money that the other guy is.
Yeah.
And they just walk into an archery shop. Yep, that'll work. It'll shoot straight. Let's just go with that. And then, you get your more technical side. So we have arrows kind of at every level for any need, really.
Yeah, built for those different tiers.
Mm-hmm.
And, it is so funny, though. And arrows were one thing that people would come, I want cheap arrows that are built strong and to be straight and do this and go through it. And it was like the same thing when I was at Sitka dealer. It was like people come in, I want something that's going to get me from September through January. So when it's hot, one system. I want a jacket. I want a jacket and pants system. And it's, again, I'm not making fun of anybody here. It's just a learning curve as far as the process with understanding it. There's no. When you're getting into some of this higher end stuff, there's not an all around perfect thing. There's got to be compromise. So when it's built specific for the application, things like full metal jackets and
it's really eye opening when you do use correct equipment or gear, because then you're like, whoa, I'm warm.
Yeah,
I'm warm, or I'm shooting better, and I'm kind of a head case about some things. Like if I feel good about something, it just helps me. I mean, I got. There a couple of years ago when I shot a deer, I had a new bow. I just felt like it was confidence boost big time. I had a new bow, got my arrows. I set up all my own arrows, so I just had everything felt good. My system was on point, and I was successful. That doesn't always go hand in hand, but once you learn like the education part behind it, and then you can start making educated decisions, that gets you a little farther.
Oh yeah, and the confidence thing is like. It could be mostly mental. I don't know.
Oh, it is all mental.
But I remember some guy that says that it's all mental.
Yeah,
it's a guy. But anyways, when I know with say Sitka specifically, when I started wearing that for whitetails, even up in Alberta, we were hunting in negative degree weather, and I get in a tree stand, I just felt like. I'm not sitting there worried about, freezing and anything. Your
head's in the game.
Your head's in the game.
Thinking about how cold you are.
You're exactly right. And, it's the same way with knowing your gear inside and out from all those aspects.
With anything is all stems from education. And then that people ask me, a lot about their setup and how can they be more successful. It's like, get educated, learn why you use something, learn how it works. And then, it just opens up so many more channels of different ways, different directions you can go in different situations.
Yep. No, I completely agree with that. And that's why, again, like you say, you're here working the Sitka booth. Sitka's not selling anything here.
No.
You're here to educate and talk about the stuff. And
we've got a couple sets up, let them get their hands on it, get a feel for it, see it in person, and then, shake hands and answer questions.
Yeah. Is that what, it sounds like you enjoy that part a lot about your job.
I love people. I love being out, hanging out and networking and talking and educating. This is my environment. I like doing shows.
Yeah. shows are awesome. Like I wish I had more time off of work to do more of them, because it's like that's my thing. It's where I'm around the type of people, you know, whether it's consumers,
people.
whether it's people working in the industry. Everybody's so awesome, and being able to hang out and talk, and every once in a while drink a beer too.
Yeah, that's when the best connections are made. I personally,
Yeah.
in this industry, is when you're just hanging out and get to catch up. And
It is too, and you just never know, you know, what could be. I've met so many like great friends, you know, in a short amount of time in there, and it's funny how that works out, but I love it.
Oh yeah, well, I went hunting with Jeff Helm, and I only knew him 3 days before I said, okay, I'm buying a one-way plane ticket to Texas to come hunt with you.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's just these good people,
Yeah,
like-minded people.
that's for sure. Well, is there anything else that you want to talk about on here? Is this Sarah's life?
This is cornhole and arrows and Sitka gear.
All right, we'll leave it at that. So, Sarah, where can listeners find some more information on you? Any of your social media handles you want to spit out?
Yeah, I got my Instagram. It's just my first last name. It's Sarah, SARAH, period, and then Laughter, LAUGHTER _, and then Facebook.
All right, what's up with the underscore at the end? I asked Alex the same thing.
Because the names get taken, so like I can't just have a dot in my name because it's someone else.
Someone else already Sarah Laughter?
Right.
Oh.
So then you just got to throw something out there that's unique enough that.
Interesting.
Yeah,
it's
available.
Yeah, I got you. Okay, I just
You know how hard it is?
had to ask because Alex had no answer for that one, so I didn't say, I don't know, just look cool.
I was going to go with that one too. Just look cool. I had to have like an educated answer on that one.
Yeah. All right, well, let's get back to here. We got people flooding the booth right now.
I feel like there's some cornhole that needs to be thrown.
Yeah, let's throw some cornhole.
Okay.
And
I'll get my pack frame if you're my partner.
Hey. All right, I'm ending this before I have to put my muck boots on as it starts getting deep in here.
Yeah.
All right, thanks for coming on, Sarah.
Thanks
I
for
appreciate
having
it.
me.
Thanks so much for listening to this episode of East Meets West Hunt with your host, Bo Martonic. For more great content and to stay up to date, visit eastmeetswesthunt.com, Facebook at East Meets West Outdoors, and Instagram at East Meets West Hunt. If you enjoyed today's episode, please review and subscribe, and we'll catch you next time.